Ooh, welcome everybody to the show. Great to have you here today for my live chat with DC Douglas, the voice of Albert Wesker in many, many Resident Evil games, as well as Legion, Mass Effect. He was in Near Automata. He was in. Oh, he's in it. He's in a lot. So we're gonna chat to him if you're listening, DC. Get you in just a second. Who have we got in here? The Hunter is back, baby. Titan, Yuki. Damn, why is Wayne Radio TV in the thumbnail? I had a few people comment that DC looks a bit like Wayne Radio apparently. I'm doing well, the Beast. How are you? What kind of accent is that? What do you mean, DC? This is an Australian accent, mate. Maxi, I'm doing well. It's a new shirt, guys. It's a new shirt. Resident Evil Village. Alright, without further ado, let's get DC in. I hope you enjoy it. If you've got any questions, guys, leave them in and we'll try to get to as many as possible. But let's do this. Here we go. DC, you can hear me, brother?
Oh, shit. Yeah, hang on. I gotta turn my... Oh, sorry about the swearing. My video's not on. Hang on. Boom. Bang.
That's all right. You're allowed to swear.
Good, because I have a problem with that. So...
How are you, man? Did you like that opening?
That was it. Yeah, that was very cool. I got confused because, like, all of a sudden you start video before you do pre-show, which is like, that is brilliant thinking. Because you get people excited, you give them some entertainment. It's like going to the movies and you get some trailers or things like that. Brilliant move. So I couldn't stop watching it. So,
mate, I love your setup. I love the vibe that you got going on there.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm a hippie, I guess. I don't know if it's hippie. It's more kind of arty. I don't know what the fuck my style is, but
contemporary.
It's contemporary. Well, yeah. It's got some, but it's also got some hippie back stuff, and it's cross cultural. And then I got a fake tree behind the TV.
It is stuff. Fake. It's fake.
Oh, I'm not watering that. Plants die around me. The only thing I can keep alive is a jade plant because they succulents. I can do succulents because you just leave them outside and they live.
Yeah, this one's fake, but I get slack from people all the time.
You have a fake? Well, yeah. You also have them in a dark corner there. That's a sad place to put a real plant, but a fake plant can handle it, I think.
So how you been, mate? You been all right?
Yeah, I've been, well, you know, there was a pandemic. That sucked.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been good. It's funny because, you know, we all believe that, like, social media, we don't believe, but social media has a tendency to make us think that what we see is the life that we're looking at, because we just get little blips. And so for me, from my perspective during the pandemic, I was looking at all these other voice actors doing really great. And, like, they're working from home. And I'm like, good for you guys. Why have I taken an 80% hit? But then you start talking to people behind the scenes, behind Instagram, when you meet them in person, like, yeah, it sucked for me too. And I'm like, well, they just share that. Make the other people who are being honest on Instagram feel better about it. So
Well, I love your approach. You're very just easygoing, you know, trying to make people laugh as well.
Oh yeah, well, I guess so. I mean, I do like to make people laugh, but I also I'm an oversharer, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it gets me into a lot of trouble because I do have political opinions and shit.
Oh, really?
I also don't like bullies, and I talk a lot, so tell me to shut up when you want me to shut up. But, like, so I've been banned from Twitter twice now. I'm not going to go back for a third time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
The first time I got banned, first off, some little fucker in 2008, 2006, got the name DC Douglas on the handle. And I'm like, I could have used that. So, and then he never uses it. He's tweeted like 3 times, and that was it. But Twitter keeps it. Anyway, so I had this one handle that was not like, it worked. But I was on there for 10 years, and then I got banned because of, the Trump era arrived. And then I couldn't really hold back with some of the hypocrisy of the followers. Sorry if you guys are into Trump. And I really am sorry you're into Trump. But somebody was going on about, he's God's chosen, whatever. And I'm like going, really? Even with all the rape conviction or all the rape accusations and stuff? And the way that I went back and forth with, I don't know if she was a bot or real, but I pointed out, I used Trump's words. I quoted Trump as a response to her, but because it was about the word rape in it, so that's a trigger word for the algorithm. And because it looked like I was saying it to her, even though I was quoting Trump talking about one of his accusers, I got banned for that. And then I thought, well, you know what? I've always wanted all my social media to have the same handle. So then I created a new account, had that handle. And I'm like, there we go. This is much better. Which is, by the way, MRDC Douglas, Mr. DC Douglas on Instagram and Facebook, not on Twitter. The Twitter one, I was doing fine, and I watched myself. I didn't swear. I just promoted myself. I was being the good actor. And then January 1st came along, and the whole L. Linwood, the lawyer to Trump, was talking about taking Pence out in front of a firing squad. QAnon was like crazy big in January, and they were all going, we really should. We need to take America back, blah, blah. And I'm like, and instead of being angry about them, I decided I'll be one of you, but I'll show you how ridiculous you are, and I'll one-up you. And so I just started responding to everybody going, yeah, and like an improv game.
Oh, right.
Crazier. So I think the one I got banned for is I said, you're right. We need to take Pence out and shoot him dead, because isn't that what democracy's all about? Thank God for QAnon.
Oh, so you really went in, yeah. Right.
And I got banned. So, and then at that point I'm like, fuck it, I'm not going back.
So when was that? When was that? How long ago?
Of this year.
Oh, this year. Okay.
Yeah.
Shit. So you would have lost a lot of followers off that and stuff as well? Like just on that. But
first off, it's like, I mean, I know that followers are good for, audience income and all that stuff, but I don't, it's like, if you start, I can't live by like followers. No. I figured I have a lot of overlap between Facebook and Instagram, and if people want to find me, they'll find me. And eventually, they won't want to find me anymore. And so you got to be cool with that as well.
Well, why do you think like Hollywood actors don't go on it at all? Because there's some like...
Oh, they're smart.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you go look at first off, between the different platforms, I would probably say that the most toxic of all of them is Twitter, because of the way that it's instant magnification of anything. So shit, bullshit, anger, whatever. People love to be in an outrage mob, all of that stuff. But if you look at like, and if you're a sensitive person, which most artists are sensitive, that allows them access to their emotions for their performances and all of that, it's gonna eat away at your mental health. Let alone anybody who's not in the performance line. It's gonna eat away at theirs. If all of a sudden, you get a flood of people saying you're shit, you're this. It's like, I mean, because like I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I've had so many controversies follow me. 2010, I got in trouble, and I was on Fox News for a week because of a voicemail message I left going after the Tea Party, which was the beginning of the Trumpster stuff. And so I dealt with people calling me on my cell phone and leaving, all these messages for me. And so I went through that, and then I went through a thing. We had a voice actor in the industry in the anime ADR world, the high-paying world of that, and he was outed or whatever. And he'd been a creep for over a decade, according to people. I tried to stay completely neutral, but I said, hey guys, let's don't condemn women coming forward, but you can also think he's innocent in the meantime while more information. Blah, blah, blah. I just did that. That's all I did. Should have done it. The minute you step into any controversy, everybody else is going to be, it's so black and white thinking in Twitter. It is literally, Twitter is the borderline personality platform of all social media. And so it's just going to be one or the other. And then that got hooked up with, actually it's from down under, Kiwi Farms. Should I have said that? I don't know. Anyway, those boys came after me, and they are boys. And so on all sorts of, so they magnify and distort anything. And it's gross. It's just gross. So if you're an artist and you're sensitive, why go on social media? If you want to, you can announce stuff that you're in. Yes, so you can be really standoffish if you want and not reveal your true self. And maybe you'll get through it unscathed and just never look at the comments, and that's cool. But if you really want to interact with your fans, it's a double-edged sword. So,
do you think that's hurt or helped your career, or like in terms of getting jobs? Does it?
Both.
Both, really?
It's a very good question. My dad was like, during that whole Tea Party thing way back when, he was like, you're probably going to lose a lot of work because of this. And I go, well, listen, if a producer is like, if he's all for no healthcare for people and, then fuck them. if they're not going to hire me over that kind of thing, if I can't be who I am. I will say this. That was my first big lesson was, because back then, remember how everybody used to blog? That was how you got followers to your website. So I had a blog, and I would blog, today was a great day. I worked with so-and-so producer at the so-and-so studios, lovely people to work with. And I feel this is another step in my journey as an actor. Like I did all that kind of, like, I wasn't being me. I was trying to present the working actor in Los Angeles and how grateful I am for the business and these people, and maybe they'll Google their names and see that I blogged about them, and that'll get me more work. And that is a pathetic way to live, and I was living that way. And then when I was outed, essentially, because of this, my private life voicemail message I left for this group, and then all of a sudden I'm like literally on Fox News' breaking news, which is obviously a slow news week. And then I'm like, well then now the advice that I got was run, hide. It'll go away, and then go back to being fake. And I'm like, no, fuck this, goddammit. This isn't right, and I'm going to stand up and be who I am, and ugly warts and all, and then I did, and I went at it that way. And ever since then, I've, like, if I do something wrong, I'll apologize for it, if I'm in debate with somebody. But otherwise, I'm not gonna apologize for having my opinion. I'm not gonna apologize for living my life as fully as I want to be and expressing myself, but if I'm a dick, then yeah, I should apologize, unless I'm being a dick to a bully. And on Twitter, so many fucking bullies that come after you. And so I was like, that's part of why some people don't like me, is I bounce, I hit back at them, and it's like, but I'm a teenager. It's like, well, you shouldn't be a fucking dick as a teenager. I hated that when I was in high school. So, anyway, it's like, you don't know you don't know they're a teenager when it's online. So it's like, I have a really like, I get so angry at this 12-year-old. Like, what a waste of time. So anyway, I did lose some clients, but I gained way more than I lost in 2010.
Really? Yeah.
And I think the industry and all is getting more used to people being who they are. So it's.
Are you? I don't know if you're allowed to say. Are you union or non-union?
Interesting you went there. Wow. I am union. I've been in LA since 1985 because I'm old. And so I went union in the 90s. But I do some non-union work. There's a thing called financial core, and there's a lot of debate about it, and very strong pro-union people will curse me because I am FICOR, but I'm not the only one FICOR.
Can you say anyone else would know that's in that, or is that not, you can't say?
Well, I mean, I could say, well, the only one that comes to mind right now, I don't want to say because I don't like him, is Angelina Jolie's dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, what's his name? He was in Midnight Cowboy. Anyway, the reason I know him is because when you are a FICOR, you're a dues-paying non-member, but you don't get any of the fringe benefits, the side stuff like voting, going to casting workshop stuff. And also, you can't get a SAG award. And he was nominated for a SAG award, and then they discovered that he was FICOR, and they're like, oh yeah, then they pulled the nomination. And then he went on this big tirade about how they shouldn't do that. And it's like, dude, did you not read the thing when you signed it and you became FICOR? Because
the reason I ask is Village, the latest Resident Evil, they're all non-union, from what I believe. So even if they wanted you, could you do it or not?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you could.
I do both union and non-union. And listen, I love the role of Albert Wesker, but I know eventually one day they're going to replace me because you don't want an 80-year-old doing Albert Wesker, or maybe you do. Anyway, they're going to replace me, and so I'm cool with that. It's it got me a lot of wonderful fans and friends and experiences flying around the world kind of stuff. So I'm really appreciative of all that. And I'm appreciative of them. They've been good to me. And so I've done union and non-union under that contract, under that with them, because I have an affinity for the role, a love of the role. And I actually know the other guys who voiced him, except for the first guy. I'd like to meet him. But Richard Waugh and I met I guess it was about 8 years ago now. And he and Adrian Huff and I, we all went and had drinks on Sunset Boulevard, several drinks. But he and I
too many.
Yeah. We talked about the whole Resident Evil thing, and like he was at the beginning of the convention scene when he was Wesker, he didn't know how to parlay it into anything as far as convention stuff. But he has an amazing on-camera career. For those of you who are fans, like know all the Weskers, go look up Richard Waugh's IMDb, and he's a Canadian actor, so all his film and TV stuff in Canada is just like great. He's been in some really big stuff as well. So I envy his.
I've actually came across the original Wesker from Resident Evil, the first one, 1996. I found him on YouTube.
There's a controversy. Which one do you have?
I think his name was Pablo.
Yes. Okay, so you got the right one.
I got the right one? Okay.
Yeah, because there was another one. I can't remember his name now.
But what he was claiming to be, but he wasn't.
I don't know if he claimed to be it, but he was credited everywhere with it, so people assumed it was it. But no, the Pablo guy, yeah, because there's a place called Resident Evil Database out of Brazil. Lovely lady who runs that, and she unearthed that and also did an interview with him too. So yeah, that's the one I have not met. But Peter Jessup and I had the same agent for many years, and he's a sweetheart and super freaking talented. And the first one that I started in 2007 with Umbrella Chronicles, and the thing is, when I auditioned for it, they were playing his voice. He was unavailable for that gig. They were playing his stuff from the previous thing he had done. I guess he's done like one or two things in Resident Evil. And so I listened to it. It was really kind of unique. And I auditioned and booked it. And then I saw him in the lobby back in the days when we used to actually go to the agency to audition for things. And I said, hey, I just want to, I hope you don't mind that I took that role, and thank you so much, because now I'm in a really big role. And he's like, no, have fun with it, run with it. He was cool with it. And then with Richard Waugh, when I ran into him, once he understood that production moved from Canada to LA, then he was kind of cool with it. And then he and I talking, and he was like, yeah, run, have fun with it. I tried to get like a panel. I think a great panel at a convention would be to all the Weskers together for a Wesker panel. I think that would be phenomenal. So
has that never happened?
No, it hasn't. I tried to get it going one year, and I just couldn't get enough bites. It's expensive because that's 4 voice actors.
Maybe I can get you all on here at one time. That might be the next best thing, hey?
That's probably the easier way to do it, exactly.
Ozzy here says, Mr. Douglas, how did it feel playing the crazed gym teacher Kamoshida in Persona 5? Absolutely loved that character, and your delivery was menacing. Did I get that right? Kamoshida?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
It's... First, I gotta say, in the whole video game anime world, I am collecting a lot of really creepy motherfuckers, and I'm cool with it, except for when some people get their little, I guess not the, if he plays all these creepy people, he must be creepy, and it's like I've got cats. There's a comedian, I forget his name, but the way he describes soft people, men, they're C-section men. And I'm like, I'm a C-section man. But Kamoshida, what's funny about that is that all I knew is that it was a video game. It was a Japanese thing, and he was a gym teacher, but he's a little bit of a dick. That's all they told me. And so I'm recording, and we get to the scene where he's accused of doing this horrible thing to this high school student, and then we finish the scene, and I go. Valerie was directing, and I'm like, did he do the thing? And Valerie's like, mm-hmm. And I'm like, you fuckers. So great, I can add pedophile to my resume. So
you've played a lot of villains over the years, haven't you? I mean,
it's been, yeah, but even before when I first was getting video games, my first video game wasn't until 2000. I did the Master in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So my very first video game, I'm playing a villain who sounds very similar to Albert Wesker. And the only reason I got to do that role is because the actor from the TV show like poo-pooed the video games. He's like, I'm not coming in for a video game. He lived out on
that's not worth my time. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, well, cool, I'll take it. Such a weird session. Thinking of where video games are now and what it was like then, it's really funny. Because also then, we didn't get the scene. You didn't see what you were responding to, what the actions. It was literally like an Excel sheet with just your lines. And we're like, do we know what's happening here? And like usually the director's like, no. So let's pretend, let's be a loud one, a medium one, and one. Like, so that's why some of the early video games are really bad.
How big was that role? Sorry to cut you off.
No worries. What was the question?
How big was that role for Buffy, the Buffy game?
In the game, I think it's like the. I've not played the game, but I assume he's the final boss. So
okay, yeah.
So it was just basically a lot of dialogue, a lot of fighting, and then some end dialogue kind of stuff.
Yeah. Right. Someone here mentioned that you should play Batman. You've got a similar sounding voice to Kevin Conroy, which I reckon you'd knock that out of the park. Batman.
Wow. I didn't. I would love that. I would have to. I don't. See, here's the thing.
What?
I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't play video games. When I was
That's
a kid,
lie. I've seen you play Resident Evil. Come on.
If you've seen how I've played it, you know it's not a lie.
Okay, fair enough.
But my thing is, I don't really like. When I get a thing for like a Marvel superhero, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this is, so I gotta Google it and look it up and read about it, and then I audition for it. So I'm not sure. I know he's famous. He's famous for that role and from other stuff, and he's a very accomplished voice actor. But I don't know like what his voice sounds like, so I'd have to go and listen. So, but I don't like taking over other people's roles. I don't like how to have to match their voice, whatever. I love it when it's a fresh new thing that nobody's ever heard before. So I can't say this. I'm doing a game now, and it is for Redacted, and I'm playing Redacted. But the thing is, this Redacted has not really been represented in this Redacted canon before. And so I'm very excited that I get to establish the voice of Redacted. We all hear about it in like 2 years.
Okay, and this is a franchise that we know, right?
I'm not giving hints about anything else. So.
Okay.
I don't want.
No, I understand. But it's a big role, yeah?
It's an important role, not necessarily big. It's big enough that I'm like going to be able to make rent for a couple months.
Is it mocap? Have you done much mocap lately, or is it voice? Or...
It's funny. It is. There's more mocap lately. This is actually a mocap one as well. So yeah, I didn't usually get. I think that's basically the wave of where everything is headed now. Is mocap for these games if they can. So unless it's just like smaller roles or what have you. So I'm actually in a couple of different things where I'm doing mocap again, which is not fun when you've got that dad bod going. So, my first real big mocap gig, I went to San Francisco for a week, and it was a buttload of dialogue. It was we were doing like 30 pages a day, and it's called. The funny thing is nobody played the story mode. It's called NBA 2K14.
Yeah, right.
So
okay.
Nobody played story mode, but I play the Uber agent. So when he finally, if he ditches his best friend as his agent, I become the agent. And that's
cool hilarious. Thing was, wow.
Wait till you hear this. Actually, those of you who are listening, if you can open up another browser window, search for DC Douglas NBA 2K14. You'll see the video of it. So here's the thing. I'm excited because I said, so how are you going to make him look? Is he going to be like this cigar chomping guy? And they're like, no, it's going to be you. I'm like, you're going to make it look like me? So I went all dolled up and they did the pictures, 3D pictures and all of that. And I'm like, it's going to look amazing. I'm going to see DC Douglas as an avatar. And then I see the game and I look like a melting Bill Pullman. It is like, they did like one render and that was it. Because all their money goes to making all the baseball or the basketball players look like the actual people. Yeah. But when it comes to my character, no one gives a shit. So it's like one render, that's good enough. I'm like, he's melting. What did you do to him?
Was that the game with the players had some voice lines? Or not?
I wouldn't know about the other players because that whole week, myself and the guy who plays the player, It was just us two. So what was cool about it is they let us like improv a lot on what the dialogue was, partly because it was just so much dialogue. To remember it word perfect would be impossible, the way they were shooting. But the other cool thing was it was like doing theater. There's probably not a lot of actors watching, but it's like doing theater in the round. So you can.
Okay. So everywhere they're surrounding you. Yeah.
Right. You're in a close up the entire time. So there's like when I first started doing it, I like did the scene with him, and I did like a little ad lib I was proud of, and then I turn away and I'm walking away from him, and I'm like going, I'm supposed to be angry, and I'm angry, and I turn and I'm like, that's pretty good, and then I look up and I see on the monitor.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry guys, gotta dump that data.
So that was your first mocap, that game?
That's my first big mocap. Resident Evil 5 playing Wesker, they
face cap.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing: is that I actually auditioned to do full mocap for him, but I had just bought a house and I was helping the construction guys who were renovating it. I'm like, I'll go bring some cement up, and I go get the bag and I threw my back out. So I go to the audition. I'm like, all I can do, guys, is walk around and point a gun, because if you make me do any other bending or stuff, I'm fucked. And they're like going, no, don't worry. I was Ruben. He's like, don't worry, no, just come in and you point the gun and all that. So I go to the audition, and they've got like a Japanese stunt coordinator, and he's like, and they're translating. He's like, okay, DC, you're going to roll onto your back, jump up, throw the gun, and then whip this way. And I'm like, no, I'm not. So the audition was very quick, and but thank God they did. They hired Ken Lally, who does an amazing job of the mocap for Wesker in that game. And then when I did the voiceover, it was face mocap. Back in the days when, so you got metal things glued all over you, so it was like hours of getting ready. Then they have like 180-degree bar around you with all these camera lasers. And so you can't gesture while you're doing voiceover, which is really frustrating, because that's where you get a lot of your emotion from. And sometimes when even though you're on mic, sometimes when you're talking to two people, you like move your head here, just to get that feel. And they're like, you couldn't do that either. You had to look straight ahead.
Oh, right.
And then here's the weirdest part. Albert Wesker is not emotive. He's not like, I'm really upset. He does not do that. And so everything is like this, Albert Wesker. But they want the face. They want the face really exaggerated.
How do you do that?
The technology. So it's like, the thing is like, I'm going to kill you. It's like really weird.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, it's horrible.
Right.
So they also sprung the fact that they wanted me more sounding like Richard Robb and Peter Jessup for that one. So I'm like, oh shit, I got to change my whole way of thinking of it. So yeah, and that's that story.
Did you meet Chris and Eva in the cast at all during that, or what?
No, actually, I still have never met. Is it Eva or Ava?
Ava, I think. Yeah.
But I've not met her. I just met her virtually during the pandemic. We did some sort of con thing or whatever, and so that was the first time I've ever met her. It was a lovely lady, and then Roger Craig Smith I've met a couple times. We've been on some shows together, but our sessions were at different times. But we crossed paths a couple times in studios. This sweet, smart guy who does social media the right way. He does not interact. He goes off and he's off, in the wilderness somewhere. He's with nature. He's gazing at the stars. He's living a beautiful life, and he posts the stuff to share with you. But he's not interacting.
Yeah, I can't get a hold of the guy. I've tried.
Right.
Yeah,
he's smart. I tried to get him cast in the film. Actually, he would have been cast in the film. He couldn't do it because he had a promo gig, and he's like, I got golden handcuffs, I can't do it. But it was a film. I went to Asylum. I've done like many films with, and I know it's Asylum, but it's also Asylum, which is cool. It's like a little bit of a playground, and I've worked with them since like 2002. And I went to them, and I worked with these other two, this director and writer who also co-wrote this comedy that we did called Alpha House with them. They turned out to be Resident Evil fans. And it was actually funny because they didn't know at first when I was cast about Resident Evil. So I think it was one night, late night, we're shooting in near USC in some god-awful place. And they've set up the shot out there. And I'm sitting waiting for my stuff, which is later on to film in that scene. So I'm just sitting out there talking to one of the grips. And he's talking about video games. He's like, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And then all of a sudden, the boom guy who's there booming the scene, whether there's rehearsing, he leans out of the doorway and he's like, you're Wesker? And then from that, he like spreads around. Now all of a sudden,
that's hilarious. Far
And
out.
the director and the writer guy, they were like, we love, they're Resident Evil fans, and they're young, they're like 20 years younger than me. And they're like, can we, I said, well, why don't we approach Asylum with a zombie film and come up with an idea? So I approached them. They were cool with it. And I'm so glad I did, because I approached them with the idea. They said they were open to it. And I'd have to go through their workshopping process, which is not fun, but it is what it is. It's art by committee kind of thing. But what was great about it is, in that moment, they went, well, why aren't you on Z Nation? Which is the show they had going. And I'm like, why am I not? And no, they were really cool. And so they gave me a 3-episode arc.
You were in that,
show.
yeah. Did you meet Sarah Coates? Do you remember her? She was in Village as well. She was in Resident Evil Village.
Know the name, but I don't. Here's the thing.
Oh.
I'm bad with names and faces going together.
Yeah,
so
I know.
But I don't know. What
She apparently was like a pregnant lady in the show.
Oh no! Guess what? I didn't meet her because she'd already given birth. I think she died or something.
Okay.
And I take her baby. My wife and I take her baby. My wife is played by the producer's real wife, who the first movie I ever did for Asylum was with her. I tortured her, but anyway.
Right.
But yeah, we were mom pop pedal, and that we took Sarah Coates' baby.
So I've got a comment here from Nathaniel. He says, if they had any brains, they wouldn't recast Wesker. Now,
well, but eventually, if this thing goes on for another 20 years, they're going to want to recast.
well, you're the last person to play the character, yeah?
Yeah, I'm since 2007. I've done, I think, like 9 games, which nobody knows because you only know like Resident Evil 5, and that's it, and maybe Umbrella Chronicles. But there's been all these side games, little things where I show up here or there. I've done a couple Pachinko machines. Is that what they're called? And little things. I did like a promo for them as well as Wesker. Then
do you count Marvel vs. Capcom in that?
Yep. Marvel vs. Capcom. And also the latest ones were Umbrella Corps, which I know people have issues with. But if you play, apparently, I say the game's canon. And if you get to a certain point, you'll hear me. And I'm like commanding you. And I recorded a monologue, but no one has... someone sent me sound files. They data mined it, but you don't hear it in the game. And the monologue is, the rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. Something like that. It's like, I'm back, or whatever. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you consider him alive or dead?
I don't know canon stuff. Also, they rebooted the whole thing, so who the fuck knows? He could be in this. He could be alive. He never fell into a volcano. We don't know. Some friends of mine who played RE8 told me that the concept that comes out in that game justifies Wesker being alive.
Yes.
Something about or something. I don't know, but like, you guys run with it.
That's what I'm saying. I want you back, man, in 9. That'd be epic. Resident Evil 9, man.
If they're doing what if you look at it, they're not. It's about Ethan's story. So right. So I think that the third one is to finish Ethan's arc of it. So I don't think you'll see him in 9. I'd be surprised if you did. So,
but I mean, you'd think they'd bring him back eventually. So you
think in some, yeah.
Do you think you'll get that call, or you just genuinely don't know, or what?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Have you played Village yet?
No, I watched someone else play through a big portion of it, and it's gorgeous. And I mean, I've been, because like I said, I've never played games, but recently we have okay, where do I start? Some friends that I've met through over the years, the last decade, from the Resident Evil community. We kind of started a little group during the pandemic to stay in touch, and they kind of convinced me that I should go and stream the games. And I'm like, well, shit, might as well. And I went and got a PS4 and started to stream one of the games. And then Proton John, you might have heard, he's a gamer on Twitch that people know. Anyway, he said, I played Resident Evil 5 with him. And so from that, I started doing more of this. And
did you find that fun?
Yes and no, because yes, ultimately it's fun. Sometimes it depends on the game. So like, I played the first one remake, so It was interesting, but the doors fucking got to me. Too many fucking door transitions.
The loading, yeah.
Right, and so early on I was going resident doors, and then somebody made me read one of these because I started to skip reading a lot of those little found documents, but they said no, you have to read this document. I'm like, okay, and I read it, and that's that one is like itchy, tasty. It's just hysterical. And so then it became resident doors, itchy, tasty, and then from that a little Discord community has popped up, and that is called if you go to resident, I can never say it fast. residentdoors.com. That's that Discord community. I'm not an admin on it or whatever, but it's I pop in there occasionally, and it's kind of it's a fun little community of people.
That's cool.
It's small right now. It grows at its own pace. But so then I'm like, well, now I need to stream more because a Discord happens. So
yeah.
But the games are like some of the remakes are just gorgeous, and you can use that game. And then you switch to, like right now I'm in Resident Evil 4. I've been playing that for about 3 years. The game is fucking long. And so it's hinky as the way the camera moves. And I get very kind of like nauseous, so I have to limit it to like 2 hours. Some of the other games I went on for like 4-hour streams, but this one I have to do 2 hours and I got to stop.
Yeah, also, I'm looking now. So you haven't beaten 4 yet?
Fuck you, dude. I'm trying. It's long, and also there's not a lot of story, and it's kind of like you start to get like the coders like we coded this level, now we copy pasted, and then we amped it up a little harder, copy pasted, made it up a little harder. That's what it feels like, and I'm like, just get to the fucking story. So I'm really ready to move on. I'd like to play Code Veronica, but I hear that's really difficult.
Hold on. Resident Evil 4. Have you heard the rumors of this remake, DC?
Well, that's that thing that hack thing that came out that said that they're doing
the leak. Yeah.
But he's not in for it.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Well, but listen, I'm hopeful for everything. Even if it isn't a Resident Evil game, I'm hopeful they'll throw Wesker in it. Why
not? We've got a question here. How did you feel about the actual character of Wesker?
How did it feel?
Like, what are your thoughts on him?
Okay, well, let's be honest, guys. It's he's an archetype more than he is a person, right? There's not a lot of dimension. There hasn't been a lot of dimension to him. But but I will say this: the way they've been doing the remakes, they've really like the acting is really good on the remakes. I did. Is 3 remade? 3 is remade, right?
Yep.
Did I play? Yeah, I played 2 and 3, but I played them out of order. I played 3 first, I think, and then I played 2. But the acting in both 3 and 2, the acting is really good. The voice acting, and also the graphics are gorgeous as well. But there's more of a cinematic quality, which is also why I love doing Mass Effect, because they wanted it all to be very cinematic acting. So if they're going in that direction when they get to RE5, and if they still want 80-year-old DC. I'm looking forward to doing that because I would love to go back. Because when we were recording it originally, I was going for, because I'm trained for theater and then film and TV, and the game I just fell into. And so a lot of the JRPGs that I would do, it's so like by the numbers kind of acting. They want to kind of like more broad operatic. When we got to RE5, I thought, well, this is, I mean, I know it's originated in Japan, but it's for the American audience. And I'm like, well, I'm going to, underplay him. I really wanted to make him more kind of like complex and underplayed. And I got like a lot, like one line read out of it. And it's like the producers talked, and there's producers in Japan that talk to them through the whatever. And then Liam comes back and he's like, much bigger, really like chew the scenery. And it was like, really? Oh, poo. So I mean, I'm acting in the style of the way that they wanted for that game. And again, ultimately, it does work. There's a lot of, I mean, there's some people that are like, it's too much. And there are other people that go, that was fun. But when I get back to when they go to remake that, and if I still get to do Wesker, I do hope that I can give a more nuanced performance of him. And at that point, I'll have more of an opinion on who he is as a person, because hopefully we'll get more backstory and whatnot. But obviously, the guy has got some mental issues. He's a megalomaniac. He's got some.
He's pretty bad, isn't he? Yeah, he's pretty evil.
Yeah, an arrogance to him, and there's a lot of things that are kind of messed up with.
Did you see
guy.
the was it the Netflix show or movie where they announced the cast of the new Wesker? Did you see that?
Fantastic!
Yeah.
I love that actor.
Yeah, is it Lance Reddick? Is that his name?
Yep. And
Fantastic.
the thing is, I know people started to get up. I had an interesting exchange with somebody on Instagram, and they were upset with it. And I said his ethnicity has nothing to do with his story. So why are you getting bent out of shape? It's another version of this universe, and Lord knows Capcom is not. They're not. They don't have much fidelity to the canon, right? They change it up all the time. So, and this is just another new way to look at it. I mean, he's got daughters, for crying out loud. So, so I think I look forward to see what he does with that. So,
yeah, 100%. Quets, it's hard to take the ending of RE5 seriously when someone who had no history with Wesker was the one to deal the killing blow. I think it had been Chris. I think it had been Chris, I would have taken it more seriously.
Well, that I would disagree with that. I mean, you're wanting an ending to a storyline, which actually wasn't. I don't know if that well fleshed out, but I think it's. If you also think about it, there's other stuff going on with that game politically, socio-politically, and so I think it's actually cool that she's the one that does it. The other thing too is a real man doesn't need to seek revenge.
Resident Evil 2 is amazing. It's my favorite. Out of the ones that you've played, DC, what's your favorite, personally?
It's not 4.
That's so funny because everyone considers 4 the greatest, ever.
I'm sorry. Listen, I mean...
What is it about 4 compared to the others that does your head in?
If the game was like, if I were done playing it, if it was, and I know I'm bad at playing it, I admit that, guys, but like I finished the other games in like 10, 12 hours, and this one I'm on hour like 28, and I'm only about a little more than halfway through. I mean, it's sad, and I'm not filled with story. Like there's more story.
There's a lot of action, yeah.
It's action, but it's also repetitive action. It's like, here's this, it's the same kind of people that kill the same way, but now they put 10 of them in there. And now you get less time. And now there's an additional puzzle, and it's like, after a while, I'm like, you're just being mean to me.
Yeah, right.
So, but of the ones that I've played so far, I really enjoyed 3. I thought that was, it was scary. It moved along. Also, I mean, technically it's gorgeous. The acting is really good. And I really enjoyed it. I will also say I enjoyed, you're going to have to help me out because it's all sort of blur together. There's one where you go in the back. Is it Lisa Trevor? You find where Lisa Trevor's been living, and she's, you know which one I'm talking about? What's the one with Lisa Trevor in it? Is that the first one, or is that?
Lisa Trevor. Yeah, I think the first one. I'm having a blank too.
I got you on the spot.
Yeah, you got me on the spot now.
I'm thinking like a.
Is that the remake? Yeah.
Back Shack or something. Anyway, that one, that had some spooky elements that I really enjoyed, and puzzles and stuff. They do blur together after a while, though. It's funny.
Yeah. That was the remake, 2002. Yeah.
I actually did enjoy that. It's gonna be interesting because I do want to play 6, 7, and eventually 8. But it'll be interesting to all of a sudden change over to a whole different cast of characters and see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it.
See, I played the original the other day, the 1996, and it's crazy how far it's come since then.
Yeah.
It's
I really
insane.
want to play the original, but I guess we can't get it on PS4.
Oh, if you play it, the voice acting is horrendous. It's the worst I've ever seen. But it's charming. Like there's something about it.
But that is the reason it is because it's the Excel spreadsheet. It's just the lines and without any context. It's because coders were writing it then. And so they're like, well, you're the lines. What do you need anything else for?
And I think it also gets lost in translation a bit, I think, because it's a Japanese developer. I think that probably had something to play. DC is really 39 years of age?
I am?
E4 says?
What? I'm 55, motherfucker. I'm proud of myself. I made
No,
it this long.
you are not 55. Come on.
I,
There's no way you're not 55, DC.
I
You
was
are
born
not.
February,
I
February
refuse to believe it.
1956.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah.
What are you drinking there?
Listen, on Zoom, there's a little button that says "Touch up my appearance."
Oh, okay. You got that cranked up, right? Okay. But still, I mean, not bad. If I have a long lock of hair like that at 50, I'll be happy. Nathaniel, didn't know you streamed the Resident Evil games. I'll definitely have to check that out. Why would I miss the opportunity to see Wesker play Resident Evil?
Except Wesker plays really badly, so you'll probably hour. Yeah, that's actually on my channel here on YouTube. Once you subscribe to this channel, go and check out. I was just type in DC Douglas. My channel should pop right up.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Playlist of all the games.
Let's get DC to 30,000 subs. Wesker, be honest. Did you create the coronavirus? Ugh.
You do know, guys. Just so you know, that's a very sensitive issue with Capcom. So they.
It is, isn't it? They had a bit of
So it's like, and as though I don't represent the company because I'm not hired by them at the moment, I will. I do want to respect their wishes, and I think it's better yet to say that no, not at all. But perhaps he could come up with a cure. Who knows? Anyway, there is though on my channel. You can find, or if you go to this is a better way to do it. If you go to dcdouglas.com, go into the voiceover section. I think you can find either about. If you go to about me, about whatever, or on the playlist, you look for. There's a Resident Evil playlist. And in there, there's a video of Wesker telling you how to make a mask.
I haven't seen this. That's cool.
I put that at the beginning of somewhere in the middle of last year during the pandemic. And I got Roger Craig Smith to pop in for it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Actually, Nicole, I met doing a gig in Japan and had no. That's when I discovered that she was going to be in the Resident Evil. So
Nicole Tompkins?
Yeah. Nicole. Neil Newbon. So he, it's kind of funny. All of us had been in a Resident Evil. It was him, Nicole, Todd Habercorn, and myself, and another guy who wasn't in it. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his last name. Christian something. Anyway, lovely actor. But we all got this weird gig where we went to Japan. It was mocap. And we're all actors and voice actors. And they put us in mocap, recorded us speaking, and it wasn't for a video game. It was for some other kind of CGI project. And obviously I can't tell you what, but it won't matter because you won't know that we're in it. We do the mocapping, but they already have actors cast in the voices. And they already recorded the voices. They had the animatics for it. But then they had us come in and do the bodies, but recorded us speaking. So our mouths will match the things that we're saying. And then they're going to have those actors come back into the studio and then lip sync us.
That's bizarre. Why?
Isn't that bizarre?
Why? I don't understand.
I got out of it, so I'm super happy.
No.
But it's not related at all. So
yeah, that's bizarre. I've never even heard of that ever happening before. There you go.
Yeah.
It
reminds me of like the movies they do in like the old Jackie Chan movies and things where because they're so big on the action sequences, they don't record any audio. They just they lip sync the entire thing afterwards. It's a little bit of that thinking, I think.
Yeah. Wow. That's very interesting insight. MC John Neal, 7 seconds. 7 seconds is all the time you can spare to read this. Resident Evil without Wesker is Star Wars without Darth Vader. Love your work, DC. Bring him back, Capcom.
Hopefully one day.
You can turn that voice on like that, can't you? I know you can.
It gets requested enough, then yeah. It's kind of weird because it's also evolved because I've done so many fan service things with it, and then I'm like, I wonder. It'll definitely have my own stamp the next time I go in to record it, I think so.
Would you change anything if you went back?
Well, like I said, if I were allowed, I would
try and flesh out the backstory.
Yeah, definitely have that. But even if they don't, if it's the same script, I just would rather give a more less on the nose evil and a little more playful and nuanced performance with the voice. I would want to do that. I'd also probably strip out the little British Atlantic that pops in every now and then. That was
well, isn't he from Ohio or something?
What's that?
Isn't he?
Exactly. He's from West. But it was, I think Richard Waugh, because at that point, you know, they don't give you much background. I think when Richard Waugh got it, he had no idea the background of the character. They only give you so much info. And so I think he just looked at the character and he went, ooh, David Bowie, you know, and so he added in some David Bowie for it, which made it really cool. But it's, you know, knowing that he's from Ohio, it's like I think just having good elocution is all he needs. You don't necessarily need to go to British anymore. But I knew he was from Ohio, you know, Richard didn't, so.
What would be Albert Wesker's reaction to Alcina Dimitrescu? Do you know who she is? The big, tall vampire?
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, apparently she's not even like, she's like the first boss or something in the game, but like everyone fetishized her immediately.
Yeah.
Which says internet, doesn't it? What would Wesker think about her? He'd probably want to be cradled and sung to so he could fall asleep finally get some rest.
Canna, hey DC, loved your work, especially on Mass Effect as the one and only Legion. I would ask Garrus for you how he increased the Normandy's weapons efficiency by 0.43. He's still too busy calibrating. That's an inside joke if you haven't played Mass Effect. Far out. We haven't even talked about Mass Effect. I mean, how do you feel looking back on that? Because the Legendary Edition came out recently.
Fucking hate the game. Hated doing the role. No, I mean,
imagine that. You should have committed to that then.
You know, it's sweet. Here's this little sweet backstory thing to kind of like it's more of an actor story, but that was when I first met Ginny McSwain, who's been around forever in the business as an animation director, voice director, and she directed Mass Effect 2. So when I went, and she's like fiery redhead woman who's got like a fiery redhead personality, and she's a ball of energy and she's fun. And I went in there. It was the first time I'd ever gone to a voiceover session where she's like, no, come back here. So I went back to the engineering side, sat down, and she's like, so tell me about yourself. Never had that with, usually you go in and they're like, hey, mic's over there. They get the mic set up and like, okay, so this project is blah, 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 and you just go right into work. Never had somebody like say, I want to know who the hell you are first.
That's cool.
There's maybe something a little old school about it too, which is great. It's about making it a people business. So, and then of course, what was great is that Legion never spoke before. The Gaff had never spoken before. So I'm like, yay, big game. I get to set the voice. And he was, obviously it's not a difficult voice to do. It's basically my voice in the morning after I've cleared my throat of phlegm, had my coffee, and then you just speak quietly like this. And they wanted like that balance between a computer like HAL and something just a little more emotion. So that was a fun. So that was a very nuanced kind of recording. The recording sessions were more nuanced that way, always keeping it cinematic, never too on the nose. Plus, it's so well written. Plus, they give you the sides, like you get the sides meaning script of your scenes, and so you see what everyone else is saying. You get, and sometimes they even had them already recorded, so they'll play the line before you, so you get a sense of their intonation, so you know how to respond. Which is why there's a much more organic feeling to the acting in that game at that point in time in the gaming history. And so anyway, meeting Ginny was really cool. The sessions themselves were really cool as an actor. And I had no idea how big the game was. It's like I literally fell into two huge franchises and had no idea within a few years of each other. So it really changed the trajectory of my voice career. So I'm grateful for both of them. And then on top of that, I auditioned for a kids cartoon called Transformers Rescue Bots, and another robot sent my audition in, and Ginny was the casting director on that. So the voice I did, Chase, it's like a lot of actors could do that voice. But she, she's casting it. She goes, I know, I'm sure this is what happened. She was like, I know DC Douglas. He goes in the short list. And then that short list is sent to the producers, and the producer, chose me. And it's like, and that was because of her. So I had 4 years on a cartoon it's great. And the thing is, on video games, I mean, we do know it's really nominal, but we don't get residuals really. On cartoons, that's where you make your money. Is you get your session fee plus you get residuals the more it plays.
Do you
And
really?
So, yeah. So it's most of your union voiceover work gives you residuals. Video games and ADR stuff doesn't. So,
Can you give us, how does the residual work? You don't have to go into money, but like an example of how would that work? Is it?
Well, it's like diminishing returns kind of thing. So the way it works is, so for instance, what's a good example? Radio is a little different than film and TV, but film and TV usually, sometimes there's different contracts depending on the level of budget or what have you.
Yeah.
But you get a session fee, and then they decide to rerun it again. After that, you'll get something that's equal to your session fee. Then the next time they run it after that, it's like half of your session fee, and the next time they run after that, it's half of that, and the next time half of that. So it goes further down to where you're getting like $20 because for an airing, and then it gets down into change eventually over the years. I still get residual checks for Under Siege 2: Dark Territory. It was a Steven Seagal film I worked a week on. Had 2 lines. Supposed to have 10, but I got 2 at the end of it. Those fuckers. They cast 2 people, and they said they'll figure out what lines you say. Well, because I was tall, they put me on this back row, and the shorter guy got the front row, and there were Steadicams. Wherever the Steadicam landed, that person got the line, and that fucker kept getting all the lines because the Steadicam guy did not want to walk up to the upper row where I was at. So, and then in the middle of the week, I was gonna go. They started working on the upper row, and I'm like, I'm more lines now. But then Steven Seagal shows up, and he brings some girl with him who I'm assuming they're dating, and they have some lines in this. Maybe we could have her as like working in the soft spot. You guys, and like, of course, Mr. Seagal.
Yeah.
So put her right next to me, and then the Steadicam comes over. She gets the line, and then the Steadicam moves away.
Oh my god, that's funny.
And at the very end,
hey, at least you get the residuals.
Back into the story. I will finish the residual part. So, but just to finish the story, so I get on the first day I have 1 line, and I had a cold that day, so it's like I sound like a frog. So, and then I lose all these other lines. She gets the 1 line when it was around me, and then there's 1 line left, and it's a good line. It's at the end of the movie.
Come on, DC.
It's supposed to be. I get a thing, and I go, "Sir, we have control of Grazer 1," which is the name of the satellite, and everybody in the room erupts. The music erupts. Big moment. I'm like, yeah. And so I go up, the AD, the second AD knew that I was waiting to find out if I got this line. Would the camera be next to me? And he comes in, he's like, DC, and I'm like, yes. And he's like, you get the line. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, but it's been rewritten. And the line is, sir, we have a call coming in.
Oh,
and then Steven Seagal says, we've got control of Grazer 1.
Oh my god. Hold on, what's this movie? I'm gonna have to watch it tonight.
You fucked me over twice on that movie.
What's this movie? Under Siege.
Under Siege 2. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch this tonight.
Oh, I don't know if you should.
Really? Okay.
It's a Steven Seagal movie. But I ended up getting so like even now I got to check the other day. I think it was for like 30 cents. So I still get so it continually diminishes as it goes over time.
Okay, that's interesting to know. But that doesn't happen with games very often.
Finally, the whole new media, you see, it's the, no offense to producers, but there's always everybody wants to keep their slice of the pie. And there's always a battle between the producers and talent. And they kept saying, we don't know with this new media, how it's going to go. Like whether the stuff we put on the internet and video games, it kind of was all kind of cobbled together. They didn't even know if it should go under SAG or AFTRA. They used to be separate reunions at one point for up until the last 10 years. And so they were going to whatever union gave them the better deal. And so it was without residuals. But then they're like making, millions of dollars on these games. We're like, hello, can we get some residuals now, please? And you can argue, why do actors get residuals and the writers, or the CGI artists don't and all that. And I have an answer, but I won't go into it and bore you people. But essentially, they worked out in the last contract, and I don't follow this stuff closely because I can't vote. But they worked out like after a certain amount of money, we get like a 0.002% residual thing. I have never seen a check from a game so far. So the only thing I've seen is like a reuse fee when they've Dot Hack, they pulled us out of that game and put us in a different game. and then I got a check for that, which was
yeah, but that's a bit different, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
See, the people don't realize is there's a great quote. I forget which actors. Is it some? I can't remember. Is it Robert Downey Jr. or somebody said this, and they said people talk about how it's like so quick going into voiceover, and yet you get paid so much money. And he's like, and the quote is something to the effect of, I spent all this money and all these years, 10 years, so that I could go in and do what you wanted in 10 minutes. And that's essentially it, because you get somebody who's not had any of that experience, that training, and all those years of not making money. But to go, they haven't gone through any of that. You're just like, here, go in and do it. It's not going to be the same. I mean, maybe you get lucky, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah,
so.
Jennifer Hale, I had her on, and she said she made $1,400 on Metal Gear, which was like a huge game, millions of copies sold. She came in $1,400, and that's it. Like when you hear that, it's like that's crazy.
But this is why especially for like those who are into anime, so of all the different, again, I don't want to bore anybody, but of all the different levels of voiceover, the anime ADR stuff, it pays the least amount of money, and that's why it's hard. It used to be hard to get talent to come in to do that stuff, but then this thing called conventions started happening, and then that became kind of a way of getting residuals for having done your ADR work, because then you had the benefit of going to cons, meeting fans. They were happy that you were there. You were happy because you were making some extra money. Plus, you got to go to a separate town, a new town or something. Mm-hmm. So that's why it now can attract more talent, and that's why more LA people are doing it as well.
Yep.
I'm also grateful because I knew nothing of anime, and after doing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I was like, "Fuck, this stuff is wild." I just did a thing called "How to Not Summon a Demon Lord or King" or something. That I don't know if you watched that show. It's like, holy cow! It's like one step short of porno.
No, I've never watched it.
There's some wild anime out there, and then there's some very tame anime. But there's the wild anime is like the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is probably one of my. It's my first favorite because it was the first really big character I had. I played Yoshikage Kira, which he's another lovely fellow. He a serial killer who cuts off women's hands. He loves his hands.
Okay.
And he talks to them like he's on a date with them. It's really weird. And but then I'm on called Welcome to Demon School Arumakun, and that I play a fun. And that's also fun, wild comedy, and playing this teacher Caligo. And we're in our second season of that. And then there's this new one I'm on, so I can't tell you what it is, but it's now going to be one of my top 3 favorite animes that I've ever done. The character is hysterical.
Wow.
And it's big, broad comedy. And so I'm like, this stuff's fun. I do appreciate the work when it comes, but it's like film work. It's really stupid in our business where I can go in and do a legal, I can work in for 10 minutes. I go in and I go, member FDIC, not available in all states. And they go, thanks, DC. Thank you, guys. And they tag it onto a whole bunch, like 15 different spots. And all of a sudden I get a check for $3,000. It's stupid.
It's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. I'll go in. Like, so for instance, I'm going to go do a film for 3 weeks now. And film is my first love.
Yeah.
Film and TV. And so I'm going to go do a film.
As an actor?
What's that?
As an actor?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I know you can produce and direct and all that. I was just checking. Just checking.
No, I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, no, I want all the easy things. I'm just going to go in and act, and you guys do and spend more money.
Good idea.
Yeah, no, it's going on location for 3 weeks. And I'm playing the bad guy in the film, so I'm very excited about it. But nice. It's the amount of money that I'll make in a week, I could make in an hour on a voiceover session. But I'm going to enjoy, it'll feed my soul to be on set every day for 10 hours doing this role. It's such a strange business as to what is valued and, where the money is and where it isn't. Capitalism, man, it's a fucker.
Are we all right to give you a couple more questions, DC?
Sure.
Ian here says, do you have a favorite Wesker line?
What's funny is because everybody else keeps bringing me their lines over the years that I no longer know of any other lines but those. So, but of those lines that they give me, I'll always love because I do remember this when I was given it, is "You will give me an egg," only because it wasn't in the script. It was, but Liam O'Brien directed it. If you Critical Role fans out there,
Yeah.
And so he's like, we're at the end of the session. He's like, "Oh, we got to do these." I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, and I thought he was fucking with me. He's like, "Say you will give me an egg," and I'm like, "Seriously, are we done?" And he's like, "No, say the line." I'm like, "You will give me an egg." He's like, "Now I require an egg," and I'm like, "Oh, fuck off, Liam." He's like, "No, what are we doing with eggs? I don't understand." And so I require an egg. And so that went on for like about 10 minutes. It was very funny. He's like, "Trust me, it's a thing in the game and it'll make sense." Now that I played it, it still doesn't make sense. What the fuck with the eggs? I don't get it.
It's Resident Evil, man, and it can't be explained. The shit they do over there. Powell, I think that's how you say your name. Question for DC: do you wear shades in real life? Lol.
No, I forget. I do forget to wear my shades when I'm driving or what have you, or if I'm out on vacation. No, I love to go to the tropics every year. But even then, I forget to bring sunglasses. So,
DC, your favorite character you've ever done? Do you have a favorite? That's tough. You can't.
It's like, if we're talking voiceover, if we're talking film and TV, it's like I played a demon Uber driver on a show called The Counter.
A demon Uber driver.
Oh yeah, if you go to my website, you can see it in the TV playlist. That role was fucking fun. One was I didn't have for it. This is what you know. You know what my career has turned into. This famous person dropped out, so we're gonna pay. We can save money, but we want to hire you and put you in the role. And I'm like, well, okay. That's what the last couple roles I've gotten have been. So
hey, you're working. You're working.
But I'm working. But wait, you know who I replaced? I replaced Kevin Federline for that.
What? Wow.
Maybe I used the word famous a little too loosely.
I think maybe 10 years ago.
But the only way that you could see the show is you have to download the app PureFlix, because it's a Christian answer to Netflix. So it's all Christian related materials. So essentially, I'm the demon Uber driver, and there's a competing Uber driver who's really Jesus, and a pregnant woman who's about to give birth. And the Jesus Uber driver wants her to go into his car, but she chooses mine because I get the better car and I know a faster way to get there. But then during the course of the show, I try to talk her into killing her baby.
Oh my God, what is this show? Jesus Christ.
It was so fun though. I mean, when you just get to be a badass, and I get to that one, I get to chew the scenery at the end. So, but you don't need to download the app. You can go to my website, and under my TV playlist for On Camera, you can see the encounter.
What's a film of yours that I should watch tonight that you're in? What do you recommend?
I would recommend, only because it's my latest, even though I look fat in it, but it works for the character, is Aquarium of the Dead.
Aquarium of the Dead, okay.
Yes, that is on, it's everywhere but Netflix, I think. So you can find it on Prime, you can find it on YouTube and all those places.
Beautiful.
I had a fun time. It was fun. It's an asylum movie. It's so stupid. But the fun thing
I love that. I love that stuff.
Oh, okay, then you'll enjoy it. The other actor I was working with was really fun, and we got to play off each other, and we pretty much rewrote every scene we were in. And so so our dialogue is really fun and crisp. We had to work in plot stuff, but other than plot stuff, we created this whole relationship. Because I'll give you a little background on it, just really quick. But when you watch the movie, just know that so when I got cast, the script that I had, it was a 21-year-old girl that I was taking on a tour. So there were all these sexual innuendos. I was kind of hitting on her, and then it was this thing. But then she becomes a badass woman, and she starts protecting me later on in the film. That was what the original script was. Well, I guess they kept recasting about different things. They wanted a different makeup of people. And they decided we have too many women in the show, so they cast a guy instead. But they didn't change his name. So the character's name is Skylar. And so I decided on our first scene where we meet, and I'm going, we got to play with this. So I made this whole thing about his name. Anyway, I won't spoil anymore, but that's where the beginning of our relationship starts, is because he was supposed to be a woman in the original script. And so that's all
okay.
our jokes.
I'll know that going in now. That's cool. Yeah. Aquarium of the Dead. Okay. Everyone watching as well, That's tonight's viewing. Quick experience on Transformers Rescue as Chase. Just your quick thoughts on your experience on that. You touched on it before, DC.
Oh my God. It was my first cartoon where I was a regular. And they wanted to film it, again, old fashioned wise, that's Ginny McSwain again. And so she would try to keep most of the cast together for most of our scenes until it turned out we got a little unruly. But so that's where I met Steve Bloom. I knew of him before, I never met him. So Steve Bloom and Maurice LaMarche, also met Amari Williams. That was one of Amari's first gigs. He's like big in promos these days. And Shannon McCain, a super talented guy. And then Jason Marsden, who is, I just think, so fucking talented. He can do, not talented as, I mean, yes, he can do lots of voices, but talented in that he can take a line and give you 3 completely different line readings. And he can keep going if you want. And it's like, and they're all like gold. You can use all of them. Yeah. He's just super that way. Oh, and also Parvesh Gina, who's hysterical. Who's Parv. So it's really, and Lacey Chabert. I was a little intimidated because it was Lacey Chabert. But she turned out to be a sweetheart. She ended up doing she was so sweet. She did a voice. She and Liam are in a film short I did with my friend Rachel called, we pull it out every Halloween. It's called Ginger and Snapper, which you can find on my website as well. And so she does the voices. She and Liam are voices in that. So I was really, but it was just really, I met really cool. Oh, and I met Mark Hamill because of that. So he, because he played the uncle, so he was there every now and then, and like hanging out with Mark Hamill. And that man has stories.
Really?
It's like, yeah, it's like a cat that keeps meowing and it doesn't know why, but it just meows. That's Mark Hamill with his stories. He's just like, a story keeps coming out for every little thing that happens. It was like, damn, man, you've got a lot of experience.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
And then also, my childhood idol was Tim Curry. As an actor, I wanted to have like Tim Curry's career. I wanted to be Tim Curry. And he was cast as the villain in our show. I met him 6 months before I started the show at the ArcLight. And I got to do fanboy and all of that. He was super sweet about all that. And then on the show, we act together in scenes, but we didn't record together. So I didn't get to meet him. I didn't get to say, here I am working with Tim Curry. We take that picture. I would have loved to have taken that picture. So
quickly, also, you worked on. It says additional voices for Last of Us 1 and 2. Yeah. Do you remember? Is that just the enemies or what?
That's Liam O'Brien throwing me some rent money.
Is that like enemies, screams, and that sort of thing, or what is that?
I screamed. All I remember is screaming. There was a car on fire, and I screamed a couple times. And then I was a character, and when you go shopping for something, but then I think they replaced me later because they changed the dialogue. A lot of it happens, especially on a lot of the smaller stuff, because I was in Dragon Age, both of them, and I got replaced in both of them. Because what happens is as they're developing, they all end up rewriting stuff. And instead of like trying to book the actor, get the time, and pay that fee, if you're already in the studio, they can get up to, for union stuff, they can get like 3 voices. So they'll just say, well, you do this voice now in this character.
Yeah.
So I was really bummed because I really wanted to be in that series. So,
well, because I just wanted to know, like, do you remember any differences from Last of Us 1 to 2 in terms of the setup and because they're a pretty tight unit over there.
Yeah, I would have no idea. Yeah, sorry about that.
No.
I haven't continued on with it yet.
It's a pretty phenomenal game.
I was a little bent out of shape about the death at the beginning. So
yeah.
I was like, that is fucked up. So
DC, have you ever played any games besides Resident Evil?
Well, like I said, I played a little bit of The Last of Us.
Yep.
I've played. What's the one that everybody plays? The big one that they keep adding characters to, and it's just basically fighting. And you choose your machine, and you go out and you fight. It's the big one. Everybody's in. You must know that.
Hold on. What did you do? What's the?
It's the big. God damn it! What's the game?
Smash Bros.
No. Before then. right big before then.
Before then. Overwatch?
Overwatch, yes. So I played Overwatch. I'm horrible at it. Oh, I'm horrible at it. So I played Overwatch and what else? Oh, well, I had a friend who she got me into some Steam games and things, and we played Stanley's Parable.
Yeah. I know. I don't know if that's the exact name, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I love that one. That was just a fun mind
Smart.
game.
Yeah, very smart.
And great that actor and the writing was just phenomenal. And that's when I said I wanted to do more like Steam games, just because they're so intriguing. The fact that you can really be arty about it. And I finally did get to do one. It's called Adios. It's on Steam, and
Nice.
and it really just plays more like it's like a one-act play or something. But you get to do things in the farm as you listen to the story and the dialogue between these two characters. I'm trying to convince this man not to retire because I'm from the mob, and if he retires, then I have to kill him. And it's a very so you learn about why he's retiring and all of that, and it's just really good subtle acting through that. And I know it's not a bang 'em up, shoot 'em up thing, but it's a story that draws you in, and it's character stuff. So I thought I like being part of like interesting stuff like that.
Yeah. We've got a lot of great questions here, guys. Save them. We're going to do this again, DC, at some point when those.
I never shut up. I know.
when those big games and stuff that you're in, we'll have to get you back on the show if you're
absolutely. I'd love to.
Did you have a good time, mate?
Of course, mate.
Is there any upcoming projects you can tell us about?
Well, like I said, so you've got Aquarium of Dead that you can watch now that's out there. And I'm in a Lifetime movie, but you know, don't bother. There's, but if any games that are coming out, cartoons. Oh, well, the anime. Welcome to Demon School Rumakun. That is airing right now, so you can watch that. Also, you can see me as Batuta in that How Not to Summon a Demon Lord.
Yep.
And then there is. Well, that one's not coming out for a while. There's a movie called Santa Man that'll be coming out.
Santa Man.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie, and I play Santa, but it's Santa who becomes a badass. It's really fun, and it's that film's going to Cannes right now.
Nice.
And pretty much the other films. The other film is not coming out for a while, so I can't really announce anything about that.
You're working on a lot of films. Don't forget about video games, please.
I changed. No, don't worry. It's voiceover is where I'll be making my rent money for the most part. I changed the way that I approached my own camera career. I decided I wanted to just be. This is where I look right now. This is who I've always been. But I had this thing in my head that I needed to be the package that people would cast the most. So I was the clean-shaven, short-haired, white lawyer, cop, doctor, and then later Disney dad. And after a while, when this about four years ago or whatever, I realized it's like, this is it. Like, I'm not going to get a big break. I'm never going to be the main lead of anything. And do I want to continue doing these roles? And I'm like, I'm kind of bored by them. I make more money doing voiceover. I don't need to, and also as when you're 19, it's like, I'm on TV, mom, I'm on TV, dad. I'm now flash forward 35 years. My dad's passed away. He was more than proud of me. My mom is like, she's give a shit watching TV. And it's like, so who am I doing it for? It's like, if it's for me, I don't need to do these TV shows, especially these procedurals that are so boring. But the most fun I've ever had are doing these whack ass indie films that don't pay as much, but I get these great characters. Apocalypse Kiss, you can find that online. I play a serial killer in the future. And I had a blast playing that role. I play a schlocky B-movie host on public access in this film called KILD TV, Killed TV. And you find that, I think, online somewhere. And I had a blast, and I filmed for a month in Houston doing that. So all these little weird things, those I enjoyed. And so I got rid of my agent and manager, got another agent. I said, I want to do just these weird stuff. And she's like, well, if we're going to do that, why don't you grow your hair a little bit? Because you look very actory. And I'm like, oh, I can grow my hair. And I said, I'm going to grow it, but it's going to be a little longer than you expect. And then I got new pictures. And at the end of last year, December, all of a sudden, boom, I just started booking stuff with this new look. And I'm like, this is it.
That's cool.
If I don't work, I don't work, and I don't care because I'm still happy finally being me. So, yeah, it's been an interesting journey. There's something beautiful about getting into your 40s and 50s. I'll tell you that much. When you finally shake off all the
well, you just don't care as much. Like, you just want to be you and just enjoy life, eh?
It's easier to get rid of like the worrying about, and this is a huge thing. It's always recurring. It's still obviously I still have to battle the shit in my own self about worrying about what other people think of you.
Yeah.
But today, I mean, you're born alone, you die alone. It's a waste of time to worry about the people you'll never meet. It's like, what's the point of that? And that's why I think social media can be very unhealthy. But taking a step back and being more zen about it and just being in the moment, which is also something that happens as you get older. You're like, well, I'm going to be dying in about 30 years if I'm lucky, 30 or 40 years. So I might as well enjoy these moments a lot more and stop worrying about this other shit.
Yeah, exactly, man. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, man, to have you on for the last 80 minutes.
Yeah, we went a little long, didn't we?
Oh, I love it. I hope you didn't mind.
Not at all. This was great. I appreciate it.
It's your favorite interview you've done, yeah? Can we just get that on record?
Yes, this was my favorite interview. You fucking Australians, Jesus, so needy.
Oh, man. All right, so make sure you follow DC, guys, on Instagram and YouTube. Any others? You on Cameo?
I am on Cameo, but you can get it cheaper if you go to my website. I have a store. Just click on the store button, and there's a whole bunch of autographs, audio script stuff, and also video shout outs, all of that stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, DC. Well, I'll let you go, but again, thanks so much for coming on, and I look forward to doing it again, mate.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and big hugs to everybody.
Before I let you go, can we get Wesker to say something to Dan quickly?
What's the name of your show again?
Dan Allen Gaming.
Ooh, shh. You're watching Dan Allen Gaming, and you're going to regret
it. Thank you, man. Take care. Have a good night.
Cool. You too. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
There you have it, guys. DC Douglas. The Incredible Legion from Mass Effect. And you also know him as Wesker from Resident Evil. Who have we got in here still on this lovely Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday? Wednesday for me, possibly Tuesday for you. Robert, Killer Dragon, Mi Chan, Daniel, Edward, Leonardo, Carqueres. Get that right? Yago Majima, Kisma, Sarah C, The Hunter, Franza, Maxi Jade, Just Vincent, Utro 213, Josh, Aglugab. I'm probably butchering everyone's name. I'm George Lucas. Wow. Alenia Valkyria. El Pisor Zebras Gaza. Lynx Regions. The Northern Nerdcast. Ozzy Murian. Nathaniel Morgan. Ashcan. Will5920. He's such a real dude. Refreshing to hear him speak his mind. No filter. Yeah, exactly. No filter. I love it. Really great insights too there. I learnt a lot in that interview. That was a fun interview. Thanks, Will. Thank you, Hunter. Appreciate it. Tuesday, you're up late. Can't wait for your Dimitrescu trio print to post. Yeah. Whoa. Why am I so blurry? What the fuck? Why am I so blurry? Oh, anyway, I got to go, guys, but it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you all stopping by. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, do all that jazz, and I will see you very shortly. We're going to have plenty more Resident Evil guests. Take care, guys.